Welcome to Morning Java here at DKPittsburghSports.com. I'm Chris Carter here with Dale Lolley, and we're getting you ready for a wild card weekend that won't include the Steelers because they're on a bye week. Now, Dale, this has been an interesting week, as every week is with the Steelers. Something happens.
Always something.
Let's start off with both a high and not a low, but a weird moment with the Steelers running back LeVeon Bell. He was awarded AFC Player of the Month for December.
He was, and it was the strange thing about that with Chris is that he didn't play the last game. They played 5 games last month.
And they kind of rested him for the second half of the Texans game.
Yeah, so he played 5 games, averaged 143 yards a game, and scored 6 touchdowns in 4 games. So a very productive month for Le'Veon Bell. He also won AFC Player of the Month last December. Mm-hmm. So he's a December kind of guy, apparently. Obviously, they rested him for the postseason, hoping to have him be a January guy as well. And last January he was until the injury that kept him out of the New England game.
And that's the weird point that we're going to talk about, because it came up this week that, because there was a lot of talk of what was up with his groin, and it came out that he took that painkiller shot.
Yeah, and that was something that nobody knew. And to be quite frank with you, because he had skipped the entire offseason and training camp, it really never came up.
Right.
Hey, what happened last year in that AFC Championship game? Because he'd given some different versions of what happened last year after the Steelers played the Patriots. First, he said that the Steelers didn't know about the injury. Then he said later that they did, and they'd been treating it. Well, obviously, they did know about it. He took the pain-killing shot of Toradol before the game and re-aggravated that injury, or aggravated it. You can't re-aggravate something.
Yeah.
He aggravated the injury on his 6th carry, or right before his 6th carry. He only had 6 carries in the game and was not able to go in that game. And that, of course, was a killer for the Steelers, who were already playing without some of the major stars that we now see with there was no Martavis Bryant.
Right.
There was no Juju Smith-Schuster.
No.
You look at the tight end position, Vance McDonald's giving him another playmaker there.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at that game, they were already decimated. Like you said, they were down to their 5th, 6th, and 7th receiving options.
Kobe Hamilton.
And DeMarcus Ayers was in the game. Like that's how
he's
rough
not even
it was.
in the league right now.
Right, because he went to the Patriots practice squad, and we saw how long that lasted. But the point is, there was a little bit of confusion with Le'Veon Bell. The Steelers are cleared of any problems with that.
Yeah, that happened a long time ago. But I just found it interesting that he admitted that he took the pain-killing shot. That tells you that, yes, there was an issue.
There was an issue.
The crazy thing about that, though, is that he had 173 rushing yards the week before that in Kansas City.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't a major factor for him. He just wasn't able to go in that game.
Yeah, just a really odd situation. But the Steelers are hoping that doesn't happen again in these playoffs. And now we're going to switch away from the Steelers a little bit, because they're not playing this weekend. They're not resting. They're practicing, and they were practicing in pads this week, as Mike Tomlin made sure everyone knew. But the big thing is we're going to look at the playoff games. And the first game we're going to look at is the Titans visiting the Chiefs. The Titans got into the playoffs in a sort of awkward way. They weren't really hot towards the end, but they did well enough that they were able to be better than the Ravens and the Chargers, which vaulted them into the playoffs. So, but they're going to a Chiefs team that started off amazing. Alex Smith was being called the potential MVP 5 weeks into the season. Then they lost to the Steelers, and then they sort of fell off a cliff for a while. But they got a little hot at the end. And Dale, I think that you're on the same thought wave as me when it comes to that the Chiefs are pretty much going to destroy the Titans in this game.
Yeah, going into Kansas City is not an easy venue to play in. The Tennessee Titans have not been in the postseason since 2008, and so they don't have a lot of playoff experience on that roster. Marcus Mariota, their quarterback, has never played in a playoff game. That's going to be a major difference. Not that Alex Smith has a ton of playoff experience. Mm-hmm. He has 6 games. He's 2-4 in those games, but that's still more than the playoff experience that Marcus Mariota has. And I just that Titans team is just not ready to go into a venue like that and win. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, we saw when they came to Heinz Field and they got utterly destroyed. And not that the Chiefs are a better team than the Steelers, but that's a playoff atmosphere where the Chiefs, they're hungry. They lost to the Steelers at home last year in the divisional round. They want to prove themselves, and they've proven they could beat the team that's the 1 seed in the AFC right now. So they're in a position where I think they know what it's like to be here. They don't want to go one and done again. And they have a new guy in Kareem Hunt who hasn't been through that. But Alex Smith, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Marcus Peters, Justin Houston, those guys I think those are going to be the key players. You're going to see those guys take over, and I just don't think the Titans really have an answer on either side of the ball that's going to neutralize those advantages.
No, they'll try to run the ball and take, kind of play ball control against the Chiefs. And the Chiefs have, as you mentioned, gotten hot. Won their last 4 games, and it all coincided with Andy
Reid giving up
the play calling duties, which is kind of weird because he is just he's one of the best play callers in the league.
It's just bizarre. I mean, he's made a living off of his offenses being creative for 2 decades now at least.
I mean, I think he's one of the best in the league, and sometimes as a head coach, you kind of have to take a step back to go forward. And I think in this case, he made the right call, and he's still designing the plays and coming up with the scheme and what they're going to attack with. But I think it gives him more of an opportunity to be that CEO on the sideline and worry about the defense and timeouts and that stuff instead of worrying about what play am I going to call in the next series.
All right, but let's end this on a prediction. What's going to be your final score for this game?
I think the Chiefs win this one. Let's say 24-13.
24-13. I'm going to say around 31-20.
You like those high-scoring games?
I like those high-scoring games, especially when you got these quarterbacks, man. I think they're going to try to show out. There's going to be a lot of throwing around, but I think the Chiefs are going to put up the points, and those are going to be garbage points for the Titans. Now, Dale, let's talk about the other game, and an interesting matchup. The Buffalo Bills got into the playoffs in a very crazy manner, the first time since 1999. They're going to face the number 3 seed in the AFC, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars, obviously heavy favorites. They're the home team. Their defense has been for real all year. They have 4 Pro Bowlers on that defense. Do you see and now also the question is, can LeSean McCoy play for the Bills? It's not really looking good for that. Do you see any way for the Bills to negate that Jaguars defense?
I think the only way Buffalo wins this game is if there's some kind of, maybe North Korea fires off a missile and it somehow hits Jacksonville before Buffalo lands there.
Nukes.
No, they have no chance. None. Sorry, Bills Mafia. Enjoy your parting gifts. You're going down there to lose. It's not going to happen.
Goodness.
Especially if Shady McCoy doesn't play.
Yeah.
They've got no shot.
They just don't have the defense to really. I mean, they have one of the worst rushing defenses in the NFL, and they're going up against Leonard Fournette and a team that loves to just pound the ball.
And Tyrod Taylor has been sacked 45 times this year.
He's going to be under
despite his escapability.
Yeah.
If they don't have LeSean McCoy in that game, he may get sacked 45 times in this game.
And I think on top of that, you have to look at Tyrod Taylor's never been known as a deep ball guy. That's going to allow this Jaguars secondary with 2 Pro Bowl corners in Ramsey and Bouye. They're going to be playing aggressive to play those underneath routes. And I think that's just going to lead to so many problems for Tyrod Taylor when he's trying to process what they're doing.
Yeah, it's going to be ugly. I don't know that the Jaguars offensively are going to run up the score. It's not going to be a 40-7 game or anything like that unless the Bills turn the ball over a bunch of times. And you also have Blake Bortles on the other side.
Yeah.
And he's got 5 interceptions in the last 2 weeks. He's suddenly woke up and remembered, hey, I'm Blake Bortles.
And this is his first playoff game.
His first playoff game. Tyrod Taylor has been on playoff teams before. He was with the Baltimore Ravens when they were in the postseason, but he's never played in a playoff game either. And that's going to matter in this game. But, I would have thought, had the Jacksonville Jaguars gotten any other matchup in the first round, even if that would have been the Chargers or the Ravens, they're losing. They were ripe for the picking. Buffalo is the one team that they could beat.
Well, that being said, let's give me a number. You said you don't think it's going to be high on Jacksonville's end. What do you think it's going to be?
I think they win this one 27-10.
Well, I'm going with a number lower than yours, sir. I'm going to say 23-9. Jaguars. I had to specify that. And now it's time for What's in Your Cup, the segment where we take your questions in the comments section on our Morning Javas and answer them live on the air. This question's come from Rhinoceros, who asks, where do you see Cam Sutton fitting in this team next season? As a William Gay replacement? An Artie Burns replacement? Or if so, is Artie Burns equipped to replace Gay in sub packages? Now, Dale, I talked about this a little bit in my midweek reader about what they're doing now. What do you think Cam Sutton's going to do? Because I have my opinions.
Well, they've got 7 cornerbacks right now under contract for next season.
That's crazy.
So, first of all, they're not drafting another cornerback next year.
They're good.
They're good at that position for once. The way he fits in is, yes, as a potential replacement. Well, he's going to replace William Gay. They're going to have 6 quarterbacks under contract once they get into the off season here, because William Gay will not be back next year.
It's just he's not fast enough to play in the game.
But Cam Sutton is a smart guy. He's already shown that jumping on a moving train and not missing a beat. At the very least, he replaces Gay as the dime cornerback. Can he push Mike Hilton for the nickel spot? That's the question. He's not pushing Artie Burns out of the starting lineup.
Artie Burns is a very good outside the numbers cornerback. You wouldn't take that guy out of that position. No. And I think the only time you do is if you're trying to confuse someone. And what Cam Sutton might be able to do for this team is that then because he's shown like he can do some coverage outside the numbers. If he progresses well into next year and they see something in training camp, maybe they alternate him and Burns blitzing in the inside.
And there's one other thing that you could look at with Cam Sutton.
Go ahead.
They need a free safety.
That's an interesting thought.
Cam Sutton also played some safety at Tennessee.
He played everything at Tennessee.
He played everything in the secondary. It wouldn't surprise me to see them just to get him on the football field.
He's a good tackler. He's a good tackler. And I studied Cam Sutton in college. I mean, they literally put him at slot, outside the numbers, free safety, strong safety, nickel, dime, whatever it was, he played it, and he played it well. And I think that's why the Steelers, like right now, they're putting him on running backs and passing downs, just cover them in man coverage, go run with them. And he's doing it. In his first appearance, they said go cover A.J. Green for most of the Bengals game. They've done so many things with Cam Sutton. I think that they're going to be confident. I think he's going to become the William Gay, but I think he's going to be a lot better because I think he's going to be a lot farther along.
He gives them another chess piece that they can move around in the secondary. And a guy who's in just 1 year with 1 year experience is intelligent enough to have learned a bunch of different positions. They can throw different things at him, and he's not overwhelmed.
And that's the big thing. Thank you, Rhinoceros, for the great question, because Cam Sutton is a guy I talk to all the time. He's a very bright young player in this league. But that's all we have for today on Morning Java. Thank you for your question, Rhinoceros. Be sure if you want your question on What's in Your Cup to submit your question in the comment section below this video. From Chris Carter and Dale Lolley, thank you for watching Morning Java. Have a happy and safe weekend.